ladies and gentlemen, welcome, and everyone else. No one else. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else watching, or no one else watching. Today is Saturday, the very first day of July, and I've noticed a little more patriotic July 4th stuff on its way than usual. I think there has been a pendulum swing of people not being proud of our country and realizing this is where we live. We can sure make it a better place, but we ought to at least like it. When I was a little kid, the bicentennial came around, 1976. So they usually date the beginning of our country to 1776, which is the Declaration of Independence, which is a paper. So some people wrote a paper, and people looking back in history said, "Oh, that's when our history began. That's where our country began." But yesterday I heard I wish I knew. Is it called the Mothers of Liberty? That doesn't sound quite right. It's not Mothers Against Liberalism. I think it's called, I don't know, but they were having a speech in Philadelphia, and they were saying that the country began with an earlier idea before the Declaration of Independence. I think they were saying 1762, maybe when the Liberty Bell was installed, maybe. Regardless of when people think the United States started, it did start. We can go back in history and choose a time for that. But obviously, a country is a confluence of ideas and peoples and systems. And you can pinpoint a starting point in theory, but all those things have to happen and much, much more, and those things are not going to all happen at the same time. So the bicentennial came around. I was born in 67. So in 76, I was the perfect age for getting into it with no irony, sarcasm, scoffing, or questioning. And I wanted red, white, and blue shoes, which were readily available in the stores. It didn't occur to me that my parents had to buy shoes that somebody else had designed and somebody else made, and somebody else had decided already that red, white, and blue was popular or going to be popular. That's what was available. It just occurred to me that I wanted red, white, and blue shoes, and a lot of red, white, and blue clothes. Not every day, but a blue shirt or a red shirt. I always liked blue shirts. I painted my desk red, white, and blue. It was an old desk. It needed to be painted. We needed to pick a color. Most people would have picked one color. I picked red, white, and blue. My Grammy made some red, white, and blue curtains. The fabric was kind of weird. It was red, white, and blue, but it also had yellow, probably signifying gold, anchors on it. So is it like navy, red, white, and blue? So it had white stars on blue background and some red, and then these yellow anchors too. And she made me a quilt that was red, white, and blue. If you look at our flag, objectively, it's pretty tacky. It's not as tacky as the state flag of Maryland. Whoa. It's not as tacky as it's not the flag, but there's the symbol of Czechia. And it's got more than one checkerboard on it, just like the Maryland state flag. It's like, if you're going to have checkerboard, why would you put it next to another colored checkerboard? That's a little busy, right? But if you look at our flag, it's busy. But it's nice, and it's nice because I grew up with it, and it symbolized where I lived, and we should like where we live. We should actively try to improve where we live, but we should also like where we live. And there's nothing wrong with that. When I hear the constant stream against white nationalists, I think white is something that people call me that I cannot change. And nationalism is good. But it's been inferred or implied or both or stated that white nationalists are racist. But the phrase itself means that the person is white, something they can't help, and that they're nationalists. Everybody should be nationalist. We should be cityist. We should like our city. We should be countyist. We should like our county. And we should like our country, whatever country that is. And it's fine to go visit other countries. It's fine to move to other countries. If you live in 4 countries, you should like all 4 of them. It's not a sports team. You don't have to like just one. Of course, a lot of people like more than one sports team. But what I mean is, it's not a contest. Czechia can be doing great, and the United States can be doing great. I'm not saying other countries shouldn't be doing great. I'm saying everybody should like where they live. And if you live in a country, you should be a nationalist. And if you live in a city, you should be liking your city. And you should be liking yourself as much as you can. You can't change if you're white or not, but you can change if you're nationalist or not. You can change if you are friendly to your neighbors or not. So, the other day in church, we said the Pledge of Allegiance. And it used to bother me when people mixed religion and nationalism or politics. That's another thing. Politics and nationalism should not be equated. They certainly are related, but everybody should like where they live. Not everybody should be in politics, because what we've got is people that don't know anything about politics who have very strong opinion about politics. So if they're not going to learn about politics, they should just leave it to the side. But you should like where you live. No question. So I used to like patriotic things sometimes and dislike patriotic things sometimes, and not like when they were combined with religion. But then I've been to a couple services where everybody in the church carries a flag of the country from where they're from, so it celebrates like the whole world, or at least the world that's represented, the countries of the world that are represented by the people that are there. And that's usually in some church that has a lot of diversity. but I don't even like that term because we're all different. So we're already diverse if we have a large group of any type. But you know what I mean. So we have, a couple of people from Brazil and they carry a Brazilian flag, and a couple of people from India and they carry Indian flag, and so forth. And if you have a big enough group, you have enough flags that it seems like you're celebrating the world rather than the country. And I've never thought that was a problem. But when we said the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, and then we said the Pledge of Allegiance to the Christian flag, a lot of people don't know there is a Christian flag, but the truth is there's thousands of flags, and just like every day of the year is National Something Day, it's today probably is 10 different days. National Nacho Day, National One-Armed Women Who've Been in the Civil War Day, National Be Kind to Elderly People Day. I mean, every day has some designations, and many organizations, including countries, have flags, and so forth. So the confluence of religion and patriotism can be dangerous, but it can also be harmless, and it can also be good for the 8-year-old who should love their country. But I felt about the Pledge of Allegiance differently than I ever have before because of the constant white nationalists, oh my God, there's white nationalists. It's like, yeah, if we were in a country with green people, there'd be green nationalists. We just don't happen to be in a country with green people. But if the green people want to come here, come on down. So yeah. So once again, the media has changed our opinions. But that's good. We should change our opinions, but we should change them in the right directions and not be blamed for things we can't help. So that's just some thoughts on patriotism and how it's changed for me, or I don't know what I've thought of it over the years. Getting ready for July 4th, which is seen as our American birthday. It's interesting to me that holiday, its official name is probably Independence Day. Is that right? Independence Day? But people call it by two names, July 4th and 4th of July. And I think it's about half and half. Never thought about who says which or why. But it's interesting to me that some holidays are named after whatever day it falls on the calendar as opposed to what it's about or what it celebrates. But again, there's thousands of holidays. We just pick a few to talk about. And that canon changes. That pantheon changes. Easter used to be a bigger deal. Arbor Day used to be a bigger deal. Surprised that one hasn't resurged, but it has not. So happy July, everybody, and we'll catch you on the next one.